And again, you're not a mind reader, so you work it out over time.
Pretty cool if we could mind read.
Oh, yeah.
I would love
I don't know
that.
if I
I'd have
want
no
that.
jobs, though.
No,
That'd be scary. Can you imagine hearing
Yeah, you
everyone's
wouldn't.
thoughts?
I would love to mind read because I'm also that person who pretty much what I'm thinking is not what I'm going to say sometimes. And then I say it and I'm like, that's not what I want. And
I think we'd all be in jail.
we would all be in jail.
I would be.
You would be in jail.
Almost certainly.
Why would we have to be in jail? My thoughts aren't that bad. And I don't
Okay.
act on my thoughts.
Liar.
Lawrence is reading your thoughts right now.
Welcome back to Swapping Secrets. My name is Jess.
My name is Lawrence.
And if you guys haven't already, please don't forget to spank that subscribe button. But today we have a little special guest.
Not little. Alice is quite tall, actually.
She's actually quite tall. The guest is quite tall for today.
Yeah. So today we have with us Alice Childs, and the topic we're discussing is why your sex life isn't working. Wow, wow, wow. And how to fix it. Hey. Wow, wow, wow. So modern relationships are under pressure like never before. Amen. Stress, phones, parenting, work, burnout, mismatched desire. No wonder so many couples feel disconnected sexually. This week, we're obviously sitting down with Alice, a renowned sexologist, to unpack why intimacy breaks down, what couples are really asking when they see a sexologist, I would love to know, and how to reconnect before resentment takes over. This is not good. From libido, mismatches and emotional safety to communication, pleasure, queer relationship dynamics, this episode is hopefully going to be packed with honest conversations, practical tools for better intimacy.
What a mouthful. But welcome, Alice.
Maybe that's how we get
Thanks
some
for having
intimacy
me.
going, get some mouthfulls going. No, I'm joking. And
Lawrence is off to a
a
good
little
roll.
bit of it, I know. A little bit of a teaser for coming up. Where just a tip is red flag or totally normal. Gabe will explain that to us later.
Are we doing the red flag game again? How exciting. You're going to like the game.
Yeah, I'm excited.
You'll get used to this. This is my kink, Alice. I like to just tease these guys with my just the tip or with the
With
tip.
just your tip.
With just my tip.
Wow, we all should really sit down with a sexologist and fix up some of our language and our relationships.
I know, I've got some pretty bad baked in
Oh, gosh.
sexist and
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
yeah, okay.
I would feel that the way that we discuss sex so openly is healthy, wouldn't you say, Alice?
Absolutely. Absolutely. With all your friends, colleagues.
There was a slight swallow, like, how do
He's
I
like, how do I say this nicely without being like, whoa.
diplomacy?
I can't imagine most people's workplace are so open talking about sex. That's only a good thing here.
Yeah, we're very fortunate in that aspect.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
we were actually fortunate enough to have you for our Christmas
I was gonna
party.
say, that's
you
what made
came
me
to our
think of it.
Christmas party, which was exciting. I still have my vagina, by the way.
Oh, good.
Even though it's just,
Technically, it's a vulva.
well, mine said vagina and penis, just the
Oh,
words,
my
because I
apologies.
could not draw the vagina to save my life, and I was like, no, I'm just gonna write it, and I did the graphic design, like I just went, done. But I still have it. So
You may want to clarify for our listeners what you mean by still having your vagina.
my vagina's still intact, guys. It's all good. No, for Christmas we got the beautiful Alice Childs in to our Christmas party with all of our staff, and she helped us draw our vulvas and penises.
Yeah, it was a sort of paint and sip sex education Christmas party. The sort of Christmas party that only OSS could do. It's fantastic.
Yes, it was great.
And then we did a
fun
King
day.
of the Ring with the paintings afterwards, and only one painting survived. No, it was,
No, we did actually get everyone to explain their favorite piece.
The show and tell.
The show and tell. I really liked that because some of them they were so interesting that I was like, how did you get, and then when they explained it, I was like, that's how you found the penis.
slight rebranding idea. Feel free to take it or not, but in that part, you could call it the peep show.
Free business advice. I
Peep
love it.
show. I like it. I do like that. Alice's
Anywho.
peep show.
Before we go way too down this rabbit hole, we like our guests to tell our audience a little bit about themselves rather than us reading out some bio that you're like, oh,
Yeah, absolutely. So I work as a somatic sexologist and also a couple sex counselor. So what that means is I help both couples as well as individuals improve their sex life and their relationships. And as you can imagine, human sexuality is pretty diverse and pretty broad. So what that means and looks like for everyone is very, very different, which is what keeps my job so interesting. And I've also just founded something called Bedrock, which is a new clinic in Sydney, which is a more holistic, interdisciplinary space that focuses on sex and relationship wellness. So sexologists, but also things like naturopaths and psychologists, other people who are all committed to sexual wellness and healthy, shame-free sex.
I love the name Bedrock.
Oh,
I know
thank
we were
you.
talking about it before, but like now I've heard it a few times and it's really sticking to like some of the fun things that I can talk about like in sex and in relationships. It's like it all can happen in the bed and you can rock it. And like I'm sure there's other reasons why you've called it Bedrock. But my brain goes to you rocking the bed.
Yeah, that was definitely intentional. We also like the sort of themes of foundational and strong, like strong foundations of a relationship. But yeah, the cheeky little rock the bed was definitely.
I like it. You caught me from the cheeky bit and then you'll probably get everyone else with all the stableness.
So, Alice, why do people come to sexologists? Why do they come to see you? What do they ask? What I want to know. I want names. I want addresses.
Yeah, so many different things. But obviously, across the sort of 5 or so years that I've been doing this, big themes do come up over and over again. One of the biggest themes is, in couples specifically, mismatch in desire or mismatch in libido, where one person consistently feels like they are desiring sex more frequently and the other person is consistently feeling like they're wanting it less often. And that can really ripple out into other parts of the relationship, communication breakdown, resentment, feeling guilty, sex as a topic, feeling filled with pressure. That's really common. And I often hear things like, we feel like we've done a lot ourselves to try and work on this and we're feeling really stuck. We feel quite hopeless. They've often seen other professionals already, maybe couples counselors, or spoken to their GP about things like their lower libido. And they're just feeling really stuck at what to do. And maybe even the conversations about sex just keep going in circles. And they're like, how are we supposed to get turned on with this context? Like there's no sort of oxygen and space for the fun and the play and the flirtation because it's just starting to feel so heavy. So that's quite common, as well as just changes in sexual function generally, which are inevitable. So whether that's from having a baby, erection difficulties, menopause, all sorts of things, it's inevitable, I think, that at some point in your life you'll notice a change in your body or how arousal is building for you, and that can feel pretty overwhelming and quite isolating. So a lot of people are navigating that either on their own or with a partner and just want some support.
Do you find that people generally come in with multiple of those? Like not just one, maybe they start with one, but then they realize there's a multitude of them that they could probably bounce between to fix and make a bit better?
Almost inevitably, because, these different parts of us, our relationship, our sexual health, our mental health, physical health, they're not in these separate boxes. We are one person and one being, so they inevitably sort of impact each other. So yes, if a couple is coming to me and saying, the reason we are here is mismatched libido, when we go under the surface, there's nearly, so many different things that are contributing to that dynamic, whether it's different love languages, different communication things which are breaking down, different desire styles. So they often like, this is what we're presenting with. I can't orgasm, or, I'm struggling with my, erection. And then we go under the surface and things like shame or body image or menopause sort of start coming up.
Yeah.
I have so many questions. I'm trying to just
Just start with the first one that comes to your tongue.
How do you? Yeah, I mean, it's the.
Not all of them at once.
Yeah, I know. This is like
just choose one and say the first one.
All at once. So I was like about to ask you a 10-pronged question. It's just like,
Hit me, I can do it.
She's gonna try.
At what stage would you recommend people come to see you?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think inevitably people are often coming to me when it's been happening for a really long time, because obviously you try and work it out yourself. There's inevitably, these are personal topics. So people often feel some degree of embarrassment or awkwardness or shame that they can't fix it themselves. So often it's been kind of spiraling for a while. And obviously the sooner you start to identify the patterns that are happening and start to learn new patterns that will help, the better. There's a sex therapist called Jack Morin who wrote an amazing book called The Erotic Mind, and he observed that couples who had sort of stopped being physically intimate for 5 or more years, he had never seen them regain their sexual connection after that time. And I have to say, I haven't either. So I've worked with many couples who have maybe not had sex for a year or 2 even, but obviously the longer it goes, the higher the stakes feel. So yeah, if you are noticing, we're really disconnected, or I'm, it's getting worse over time, not better, because I'm getting more and more in my head about it, definitely get help.
Breaking the cycle of behavior or the feelings around it I imagine is super tough. I feel like those cases would be more on the extreme end, or is this something that's common that you're seeing?
Yeah, it is more in the extreme end. And not all couples and the people that I work with have a problem. I had a couple recently who bought it as a wedding anniversary gift to each other. Cute. Because, they just really value their relationship, really value their sex life. And like, what more's out there? We want to keep growing, keep improving. And that's quite common, actually, people who feel like they have a really stable and loving and respectful relationship. They've got a lot of attraction and their sex life is pretty healthy, but they're just wanting more tools, more resources. I love working with them as well. So it isn't just fixing problems, it's also building on really strong foundations.
What would you say is the biggest thing holding couples back from making the improvements, even after they're coming to see you? Say it's sort of, you can be given or be explained tactics or topics or strategies to try and remedy the situation or improve it. Where do you find where people might be going?
Yeah, we're stuck.
We're stuck. Even with the help, we get into this. Sometimes we're in session. Oh, it's all good, la, 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 la. And then you get to the bedroom or a week down the track.
It's inevitable.
Stuff keeps coming back up.
It's inevitable, especially at the start of a journey with a couple. I always set homework or home play after session. And it's really common, home
That's
play.
A good name for it.
Yeah, because I didn't want people to feel like it was work. It's supposed to be things they feel motivated and excited to try. But inevitably, for a lot of couples, the home play does not happen for the first few sessions. They come back, guilty, like, oh, we didn't do it. And I'm like, that is okay, because it's just as useful to talk about why not as to talk about what you did and why you enjoyed it or what you learned from it. Because often, to answer your question, the reason why things aren't moving forward is over a period of time, there has been an avoidance, a sort of holding back, because it is really vulnerable to initiate intimacy, to initiate sex, to bring up the homework, to say, hey, should we do this thing? So the very reasons why the home play is often not happening is often the very patterns and reasons why they're coming to see me in the first place. So we use session to talk about that. If you think about it, if sex, for whatever reason, in a relationship has become heavy or difficult because it's associated with, rejection or awkwardness or pain or whatever it is, then that often ripples out to the conversations about sex. So they're not feeling really fun and light either, which then often ripples out into, sexual intimacy that doesn't lead to sex. So, passionate kisses, showers together, naked cuddles before bed, which then ripples out into, physical touch that isn't even necessarily sexual, like a nice kiss when your partner goes off to work, cuddles on the sofa, and that ripples out into sort of day-to-day how emotionally connected you're feeling. So what we do is we often work our way backwards, because over time there's been this sort of avoidance of these things. Because from one person, perhaps, for example, with the higher sex drive, they're avoiding initiating these things for fear of rejection, for fear of putting pressure on their partner, of, they've had a lot of evidence of when I do these things, they pull away from me and that hurts and that sucks, so I'm not going to do it anymore. Whereas on the other side, perhaps with the lower libido person, for example, they stop doing these things as well because they don't want to lead their partner on. They don't want to put out a signal that they feel they can't follow through with. So they start avoiding those, physical touches, intimacy as well. So both of them, even though they're both in session with me because they want intimacy and they want connection and they're craving the same things, they're subconsciously or consciously leaning away from each other. And so that is the biggest kind of mindset shift that I'm trying in the early stages of a process with a couple to kind of break through and go, let's lean forward. Let's lean forward and initiate these small moments of connection and build trust.
So you're saying when you go backwards, you're talking about just the small things like holding hands while maybe watching TV on the couch, or having a hug when you say goodbye, or hello when you come home from work, going to work, whatever.
Exactly. And it might sound really small, but it's often what I describe as the simmer. So if you think about your relationship like a sort of vat of water, if you think about sex being like when it's reaching a high boil, if you're trying to initiate sex from a cold vat of water, it's going to feel like quite a lot of work.
Nice plunge.
You know, and yeah, pretty chilly.
Yes.
So
It takes a lot more energy to get it to boiling.
a lot
Get
more
warmed
energy.
up.
Yeah,
A lot more
in a shorter
effort.
period of time.
A lot more
And
time.
Never actually reflected on thinking little things like that. Like sometimes Jamie and I will be running late for work together. So we're like, we'll just have a shower together and we like
Yes.
have a morning conversation. And this is normally before our son wakes up. So I'm like,
Yes.
I always like, I just thought that was normal for me. But again, we're very lucky we're in this kind of lifestyle where we talk about it all the time. But we do that is in a rush, and then it's like we always do the goodbye kiss, or at least
Yes.
if I'm running out the door and like Ollie's losing it for some reason or something's happening and I'm like, oh God, like I can't say goodbye, I'll always text him and
Yes.
stuff. But that makes sense where some like the
The
little
small
things, they
things,
just forget.
They add up to a thread between the two of you.
That makes
That
sense.
even if that week you never have sex for whatever reason, because life, you can go, I still feel connected to you. I still feel that this week you wanted me, you desired me, you showed me you wanted me, which is different from you showed me that you needed me. It's like you created that sense of desire, whether it's that little flirtations, those kisses goodbye, those showers together. It creates that thread that we are still an erotic couple.
together. Yeah.
And that's so important.
yeah, it's the ongoing, like you said, the ongoing simmering, just the day-to-day flirting, the things like that. And on that topic,
Did you drop a flirt?
I'm going to just quickly talk about one of our lovely sponsors, Flirt. So flirtadultstore.com.au. They support this show, and we would love you to support them, which in turn supports us. And it's one big happy family we're around. So use promo code SECRET15, that's SECRET15, and you can get 15% off your order. They got lots of goodies, obviously adult play toys, costumes and outfits to wear. So you can go to their online store. I think you can also like check out their physical stores. There's one in Darlinghurst. You want to, get a feel for some of this stuff, go check them out. And make sure to use the code SECRET15. Thank you, Flirt. We'll get back to the convo.
Yes. Thank you, flirt.
Where do you find one person feels, or maybe both feel like doing the work or sort of trying to improve on things then makes it about them or the other person? Like, oh, I have to do this for you so we can get on a playing field that feels...
compromising?
Yeah, well, the compromising, or I suppose the compromising where it's like
I think I know what you're saying. A lot of people, especially actually my female clients, come sometimes on their own because they say, this is a me problem. Like, I'm disconnected to my libido. I want to do this for my partner. I know it's important to him to have a healthy sex life, so I'm here to improve this for them. And while it's coming from a beautiful place, which is I care about them and I know this is important to them, that will rarely actually trigger someone's desire for sex if it feels like you're doing it in service to someone.
Yeah.
Because desire is about your wants. Think about the word desire. You've got to want it. You've got to have a positive association with sex and associate it with pleasure. It's not just about that other person's desire. It's also about yours. So in a mismatched libido dynamic, whatever way round it is, I always like to try and really enforce the point around this isn't a person A's problem to fix or a person B's problem to fix. This is an us dynamic that's unfolded over time, and it's an us thing. It's an us thing that we're working on, not don't need to come to session because you go and fix
You
your
fix you
libido.
and you come
fix
back,
you.
and then once you're done, then everything will be fine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, well, there's nothing wrong with me. I still want sex, It's like,
Yeah, you're like, fantastic. Can you help me? Let's work together as a team. It's not just a me
Exactly.
thing. You were mentioning before, like, I know it's different, but I'm curious to see if every sort of couple are also different. I'm a words of affirmation, and then my partner, like Jamie, is a physical touch person. Is that very common to have a lot of people match differently?
definitely. And I think, most of my couples have different love languages and different erotic blueprints, different kinks, different, all sorts of different things. And those differences are not a problem.
Yeah.
In fact, every couple has unsolvable differences. It's inevitable in all sorts of different parts of life. What becomes an issue is when that topic, and this is a Gottman framework, becomes what's called gridlocked, which means we can't talk about this without it becoming an argument, or we're sort of spinning our wheels on this topic. So having different love languages as an example, really normal, really lovely. And I love that it's called language because it's literally like learning to speak a second language.
Yeah.
So it might never feel like your first language to speak his love language. Maybe it always takes a little bit more intentionality or a little bit more conscious thought to express love in the way that he, adores the most, and vice versa. But also how beautiful to see the effort that your partner's making, knowing that it's not their first language.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and it just sometimes means you just need to be a bit more, remind them, hey, remember how much I love words. Hey, remember how much acts of service mean for me. And that's not a criticism, it's just a little
nudge.
recheck. Yeah, it goes both ways.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, cleaning the house. You just always got to upkeep is part of the game. It's like you just got to do it. You can't not just go, I don't need to dust. I dusted last week.
Chore play. Chore play is a big thing. You don't know how many times, at least once a week, fights about the housework are so fundamental to why they're not having sex. Because it's not just about the dusting, it's about not feeling like a team, too much mental load, not feeling like you're sharing, the burden of adulthood.
Yeah.
I can attest to that for sure.
The emotional, what is it? What's the phrase? The emotional burden,
Emotional labor.
the emotional labor of relationships, something I'm, seeing a lot of lately on my social media, and that traditionally it's the women who carry most of the emotional labor in the household. How do you go about trying to solve this or trying to help couples improve upon that? That feeling of I do all the emotional labor, which would then lead to the resentment, and then one of those four horsemen, if we're going to use the Gottman principles.
Communication, right? All so often just flows back to communication. I'd started working as a sexologist and started working with couples, and very quickly I was like, you can't do one without the other, because the emotional intimacy or things which are happening outside of the bedroom inevitably can impact what's going on in people's sex lives. They're so interconnected. So quick, go retrain and get some couples counseling tools, because they're so interconnected. What's going on in the emotional labor, for example, so often is impacting whether it's that resentment, the love languages that you mentioned. It shows up in lots of different ways. And so often it's just about unpacking that, what is actually going on outside of the bedroom that might be contributing to these patterns. And I sort of get a picture of that over time as I work with a couple. And a big part is different communication tools, just to help them start to open up about what's important for each of them.
Yep.
Not always. Sometimes we really do just stick to sex and intimacy, but nearly always something else comes into it. And we go, of course.
Can I get a quick, maybe just handy hint for probably more of our male listeners, because this is something that I struggled with, and I feel like I'm getting better at it, and especially with the emotional labor side of things, where I would, feel bad about the emotional labor that's being carried, and my way of remedying it is I'll just do more stuff. And then feel free to chime in. But that doesn't actually help when I'm just doing this stuff, because it's like my partner would have to just make sure, Michelle would have to make sure that it was being done, checking off the stages. It was almost like I was a laborer on a work site and she was the foreman still. It didn't matter that I was actually lifting the things. And, I had to learn this lesson that it's not about just me lift and this is good. It's actually need to collaborate on the planning, on the processing of what's going to happen, the communication about, and it need not necessarily be me who actually lifts the thing. It's just about who's going to lift it and why, kind of thing.
Absolutely. Although sometimes I hear the opposite of, not just men, but the partner who perhaps is wanting to help more with the emotional labor, saying to their partner, well, just tell me what you need to help. And it's like, I don't want to have to tell you every time when there's something that clearly needs doing. I want you to sort of see that the dishes are dirty, or see that the, kids need whatever, and actually action it, because me telling you what to do is the mental load.
Yeah.
Take the things off the load by doing the job yourself and taking that initiative. So actually some of the clients that I work with would be like, no, keep doing what you're doing, do the things, take a proactive role. Whereas yes, other people are like, come and ask me, come and say, hey, you seem stressed. What's on your mind? What's on your load? How can I help this week? You know, because you're not a mind reader. And sometimes actually, you know, remembering that and just asking your partner, is there anything I can do to reduce your stress or stresses this week?
So maybe the initial conversation should be, are you a me take over and do things kind of person, or you need to know, you need to be telling me what's happening kind of thing?
Well, exactly. And I do think it's quite human nature to, if we see someone that we love and care about in pain or in distress or upset, we want to fix the problem. And I think it's quite a default reaction for people to be, oh, you're upset. What can I do to fix this? And, you know, this is not always, but sometimes quite a male reaction of, I want to take quite a pragmatic approach. Let's fix this together. Let's work it out. When actually a lot of the time, all that's being asked for is listen to me. You know, tell me, oh, that sucks. You know, that's really stressful. You know, what are you needing? How can I help? Rather than actually going into problem solution mode. I think that's a big one as well.
Yeah.
Learning how just to listen and validate heavy emotion without trying to fix it.
Maybe this is also a male perspective, and on that too, like obviously my partner's now pregnant and there's a lot of hormonal things to have to mitigate and stuff with each other, and part of it too is like you feel that you need to solve for something because you see the pain in someone you love, so you don't want them to feel that pain.
Exactly.
So how do you mitigate those feelings towards an instinctual thing of wanting to reduce someone's suffering? You know what I mean?
I think it helps when you see that actually just being there, being the supportive listener and validating what they're experiencing actually does 99% of what you want to do. You know, it's the cliche of a problem shared is a problem halved. Often when someone comes to me like, oh, I've had a shit day, or my hormones are all over the place, or I'm feeling really overwhelmed. Most people don't want, okay, well, I've made you a routine plan for tomorrow. You know, I've got you some supplements. You know, I've got you.
Here's a chill the bitch out.
You know, here are some ways to fix the hormones and to fix this. Most people just feel very managed. It's like you're not really listening to what I'm experiencing. So actually just going, that sucks. I can't imagine what it's like to have your hormones all over the place. I can't imagine what it's like, you know, to be in your situation.
See, I'm guilty of that too, because I feel like that's not enough. You know, but, you know, also I'm doing the opposite. It's like, well, sorry to hear that. I've made breakfast for tomorrow and, you know, our son's lunch is all ready to go.
Yeah.
And, you
That's
know,
amazing. And I'm sure that's exactly what a lot of people will be needing. It's back to, you know, Jess's point of love languages. You know, for some people, you taking up the acts of service and going, well, I've made, you know, run you a bath. Favorite playlist is on. Don't worry about dinner. I'm on it. You know, you'll see their nervous system just go, he gets me. Whereas for other people who are words, they might need, you've got this. You're the best mum ever. You've done this before. You can do this again, and sort of cheerleading with your words. Everyone is so different in terms of what they're needing. And again, you're not a mind reader. So you work it out
Pretty
over
cool
time.
if we could mind read.
Oh, yeah.
I would love
I don't know
that.
if
I'd have
want
no
that.
jobs though.
No,
That'd be scary. Can you imagine hearing
you
everyone's
wouldn't.
thoughts?
I would love to mind read because I'm also that person who pretty much what I'm thinking is not what I'm going to say sometimes. And then I say it and I'm like, that's not what I want. And
I think
like,
we'd all be in jail. I would be.
You would be in jail.
Almost certainly.
Why would we have to be in jail? My thoughts aren't that bad. And I don't
Okay.
act on my thoughts.
Liar.
Lawrence is reading your thoughts right now.
Yeah, I can hear them right now. Yes.
Oh my God.
Where would the fun in that be?
Oh my God.
You
Yeah,
know,
you're
would
right.
it make sex better or worse?
Yeah.
There's a hot, crazy scale.
It would definitely make it less exciting. Part of the excitement, I think.
Have
is
you seen that Mel Gibson? What is it? What Women
Yes.
Want? When he's like,
And he
Oh,
becomes a
yeah.
sex god because he can read their mind.
yeah.
Is that realistic though, or would you just?
I don't know. I've
I think
pretty
I think it'd be.
satisfactory sex life, obviously.
It's like one of those. I think it's like winning the lottery. It's like, oh, it's great at first, but then when everything just comes too easily, it becomes ultimately unfulfilling.
Yeah.
'Cause-
You need a bit of tension, you know, and anticipation in sex.
Yeah.
If we know exactly what they're about to do, you can't
You're
create
just- yeah.
suspense in your body.
Yeah, You're just like moving pieces,
got
so
rid of
you
my really fun
so you can do what
idea.
you want. It's not
wanna
really
read
about them.
minds. Get over it and get very bored very quickly, so that's probably not right.
You need to have an off switch.
Yeah, just turn it off when I feel like I just need to play it by ear.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's so many things to delve into in this. Unless I know we don't have forever to talk. I'm not wrapping us up, by the way. So and I just want to bring it on topic to what swapping secrets is and all that. Is what experience do you have in where a non-monogamous relationship would come into people's sex lives, or some mismatched libidos, or anything along those lines?
Yeah, I do work with a lot of couples at different stages of their non-monogamy journey. People who are, very, very far along their journey. They're polyamorous, they have multiple relationships, all the way through to couples who are just starting. They're just curious about their first threesome. They're just starting the conversation. They're wanting to navigate these spaces with respect and try and avoid as many emotional minefields as possible. As we know, it's sort of inevitable to, discover things about yourselves and each other along the journey. But it's beautiful working with those couples because we're trying to get them, the communication skills and resources to help navigate these experiences. I would also say I work with quite a lot of couples where one person identifies as, more adventurous or more kinky or more on the E&M scale than their partner. And that can be quite challenging across all of those different dynamics. So yeah, everyone's, the approach would be really different for all of those couples. Do you have sort of questions around that?
Yeah, how do you, it links back to a question I asked earlier about sort of that compromise, but also coming to some kind of agreement between each other, where one person might feel like they have to drop down in their desires or proclivities, and the other person has to come up.
Yeah.
Or if someone comes all the way to someone else's level, either up or down, however you want to explain it, and the potential resentment and contempt that could stem from that is like, and how do you balance that, or how do you try and help people balance that?
Absolutely. So what we often do is, because over time, what sometimes the person who feels, for example, lower libido or less kinky or less explorative or whatever it is, feels like there's been a lot of conversations about the desires of what their partner wants, like how much sex they want or how kinky they want it, or why, group sex is so fun. When I ask them, what turns you on? They often say, I don't know. Right? Because over the years, the focus has often accidentally been on the desires of the more adventurous partner than on the desires of the person who feels like they're sort of being pulled into this world and they've got quite a bit of resistance in their body to it. So what we tend to do is refocus on what actually turns on the other partner and create a really safe dynamic for that, so that they can answer the question, what turns you on? What do you enjoy? What makes great sex to you? Because often, for example, they might be like, oh, actually, I love when we put on a playlist or candles or massage. I'm like, okay.
Do you give them like a checklist to go through?
I do.
Good, because I was like, I'm sitting here being like, I've done a lot of things, but I'm like, how do I explain it?
I do.
I was like, I don't even know what I like.
I have a free sexual bucket list PDF on my website, which I can send you.
Please shut up. Plug your website. Go for it.
I like it.
Look right into their camera, right into their eyeballs.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Come here and visit me for a PDF.
And then we sort of start.
Or a checklist. For
a
the checklist.
sexy PDF.
Oh.
And then we start pulling out little threads. So I'm like, okay, it sounds like you're really, for example, sensory. And then I start talking about, sensation play. And then they're like, ooh, what would it feel like to, have warm oil dribbled on your body, or have a blindfold so you can surrender to the sensations even more. And before we know it, we're often kind of getting closer to a kinkier territory or a more explorative territory. But it's following the threads of what genuinely turns on that other partner. Yeah. So they're not like, oh, I've got to have a blindfold on to make them happy. It's like, no, I desire that because it turns me on and I'm feeling really safe and excited about that now. So often we can find a really connected middle ground when we follow genuine desire rather than pressure or expectation.
It's interesting you mentioned that, because like with desire, there's often like with yourself a smorgasbord of things you may or may not like. For me, it's quite broad. Being from the queer community, so I'm quite broad. But that is an interesting point to make about a connectivity on the partner and recognizing what each other's things and responses to some are much more lighter touch than others, and others are just very much more kind of easy to tap into. Where do you feel like there's a often disconnect between a couple if one is quite more extreme than the other? Can it still work? Like, is it that black and white? Like,
it definitely can do. Definitely. And I've seen that actually. I'm thinking of a number of couples where it's
Names and addresses,
yeah,
please.
exactly. It's full addresses and names.
yeah,
We want to email them and get them on the show.
I think a lot of it is a mindset shift. So if we go underneath the surface, often there's these unhelpful beliefs about the thing that's going on. For example, the person who's been identified as less adventurous, for example, might think, I'm not good enough. You know, the sex that we're having is not enough for them. And so they're feeling pretty insecure, for example. Like, you know, I'll never be enough. I'll never be enough for them. Right. And then when we go underneath the surface of the partner who's craving more exploration, it's like, of course you're enough. I love you so much that exploring with you just fills up, you know, just makes me feel even closer to you.
So it's less of the connectivity on the sex and more of the partner and the relationship, like the connectivity you have beyond intimacy.
Yes, but also once you know what it means to someone, you start, again, it's like leaning towards. So if you know for your partner, rather than just going, oh, they're just a sexual deviant, they want all of this crazy stuff and I never could, and you mar it with that brush, of course you're not going to desire those things. Whereas if you go, oh, they're not a sexual deviant, also a horrible term, well, unless, reclaim it. And you go, oh, actually what they're wanting is to, you know, explore with me and connect with me and play with me and have fun with me and flirt with me. And I've been putting it in that box because I've been scared of it and it's been triggering my own insecurity about not being good enough, for example. Then suddenly you might be able to hear their desire of, you know, using a blindfold or, you know, watching porn together or whatever it is through a lens of, oh, it sounds kind of fun because I'm not putting it in the category of, see, here's another example of what we do not being enough, or see, here's another example of them.
I particularly respond well to direction, you know, so that kind of idea of like, you know, expressing what you want and being told. Like I started playing soccer recently and my coach, if he just tells me what to do, I'm so like, yep, I'll do that. You know, I respond. I'm a responsive person. So I'm the same in relationships. It's like I get told, actually, I just want to, you know, cuddle up and do this, or I want to watch porn, or I want to put some candles on like that. I'm like, yep, cool.
But that's fantastic because that's someone who has the skills to A, know what they like, B, know how to articulate that, and C, have the confidence to ask for it. Even as simple as saying, I want to snuggle up and light some candles. And there's three sort of little skills there. What do you want? How do you ask for that? And actually putting it into words and have the confidence of asking it from someone. And those are three things that a lot of people just don't know how to do. And I say to, you know, every day I ask people, what do you like? And most times it's like, I don't know. I feel really disconnected from what turns me on, what I enjoy, and I would never be able to ask my partner for it, even if I did know. So I think in these spaces, we're way better at navigating those really simple questions, but out of these four walls, actually a lot of people have never really had the time or the space or the permission to explore their sexuality.
Do you have any advice on then how to, what would you say to a person or couples or whatever who you ask that question to, and one or both of them maybe are thinking, I don't really want to say it because I don't know what's going to happen when I say I want XYZ, and it's like, holy shit, that's like, you know.
It's not what I ever thought was going to come out of your mouth. And
yeah,
you're like,
or it's like, you know, like, and if I'm bringing it back to like a conversation that we've had a lot on this show and this podcast, and to people that come to the club, is how to introduce the idea of coming to
the club for
like
the first time.
Sex parties and adult play parties or non-monogamy in general. That could be like
scary as shit,
world-altering desire,
absolutely,
to in a relationship.
Yeah. So if you are bringing up something like, oh, I really want to go to OSS, right, for the first time, you've had some time to think about it, to fantasize about it, to imagine yourself there. And so you're 5 steps ahead of where your partner might be in terms of thinking about it. They might never have even heard of the concept, let alone the name.
Yeah.
Right. So I think a lot of times people are acting from a place of shock. And often people's knee-jerk reaction when they're feeling surprised is different if they've had some time and space to reflect on it. So sometimes I say that, like, choose your moment, work on your communication of how to bring it up.
Don't ask it mid-orgy.
Yeah, exactly. exactly.
Scream it out.
And your partner's knee-jerk reaction might not actually be, once I've had some time and space to sort of sit and think about it and reflect on it, they might be like, actually, I have questions.
Yeah.
So create a really safe space for those questions. I also say reassure them that you don't want to do anything unless they're comfortable with it. So you create a really clear, this is something think could be quite exciting. I never want to pressure you. It'll only be fun for me if it's fun for you, but it'd be fun to talk about. I also say that talking about the thing is different from doing it.
Yeah.
So creating a really safe environment where you can talk about fantasies, about, oh, why would that turn you on? Then what would happen? And kind of be able to play out the idea of a thing can be really connective and fun without any sort of pressure to actually do it. And often that ends up leading you to go, yeah, actually this is, as we're talking about it, feeling really green and exciting for me, or feeling quite orange and restricted, or feeling like a clear boundary right now. So yeah, talking about it often gives you some beginning insights as to whether it's something you could want to do in reality.
Interesting.
Yeah, and just give them the opportunity to ask you questions. Right? Like, why would it be hot for you? What might that look like?
So do you think it's probably better to then propose these questions when you're not about to embark on something? Like, it's more like you have a sit down, you have a really lovely a dinner date together or something, or you're sitting on the couch and I don't know, you see something sexy on TV comes up, I don't know, something naughty but not super naughty, and then you sort of broach the subject rather than just before you're about to go out for a situation. You're like, oh, we're going to go see our friends. I've been thinking about this.
Absolutely. Like, that's such a good example. Like, oh, something naughty's happening on the TV screen, a threesome's happening, or a group sex thing's happening, and going, oh, hot scene. What do you think about that? Has that ever been something you fantasized about? It's the number one most common sexual fantasy, time and time again in studies, threesomes and group sex. So even if people don't actually want to do it, they've probably thought about it and masturbated to it at some point.
Yeah.
So being able to talk about, why is this hot?
Yeah.
Do you ever want to do that?
Would you ever encourage manufacturing that situation? Like, you're like, no, I'm serious. Like, it's like you're going to hang out on the couch and just go, it's like, it's my turn to pick the movie or TV show, and you're like,
100%.
I'm going to pick this because I know this scene or thing's going to be in here, and I can leapfrog into the content.
100%. Having a sort of
That's not
third-party
manipulative?
thing.
I don't think that I've done that.
I don't think it's manipulative.
Maybe if you're going to put on Eyes Wide Shut, I don't know, but yeah.
I don't know.
It's sort of like if you send them this podcast.
Yeah.
You go, ooh, interesting podcast. I would love your thoughts on it.
What are you searching in your feed to see this podcast? Motherfucker? We're going to have some words.
Also, I've read this article. I'd love your thoughts on it. Or I've watched this movie. What a hot scene was that? It's a third party thing that then can prompt the discussion. I don't think that's manipulative. It gives you something to talk about a genuine desire or curiosity that you have.
And you bring it up and it's met with
resistance.
Yeah, let's call it resistance in its mildest form.
Before you go into, I can see your brain doing this.
Yeah, it's like resistance. It's either like nope, or there's the tears, and you're like, I'm so sorry, sweetie. Here you go.
How have you broached it? Was your dick hard? And you're
I'm talking about something that can be transformative as nom. You're coming to sex parties or a club like ours. Can be massive. It's not just like, oh, I love you to wear some lingerie or this kind of underwear turns me on. It's like, okay, there's different stakes in the sharing of desires there. And I feel like this one, and I know we're sort of hanging on this topic a little bit long, but this one is, for a lot of people, would be huge.
Absolutely.
And the reaction could be equally as huge.
Absolutely. And obviously when it comes to great sex, consent is the most important thing, right? So never forcing someone or pressuring someone into something which they feel uncomfortable with, because at the end of the day, like when I was talking earlier about a female client coming to me and saying, I need to do this for my partner, even if it's coming from a good place of this is important to my partner, so therefore I guess it's important to me, I'll go along when I'm not feeling fully comfortable. It rarely actually leads to a positive experience for everyone, where you both have to be there because you want to be there. And I have seen many couples start where one person's like, please, can we do some group play? And one person be like, I really don't think that's for me. And get to a point where they are able to find a really happy middle ground where they are enjoying group play together. It's definitely possible. But how that becomes possible is really honoring the consent and the boundaries of the person who's like, I don't know if I'm comfortable, because there's no surefire way of getting someone to go, and I never will be, if you try and push that boundary, because it just becomes more and more important to defend that boundary. Whereas if you go, no problem, let's respect that boundary, but let's still create a dynamic where we can talk about it or get curious about each other's desires and build trust and communication. I've seen so many times where that person who has originally gone, nope, gone, ooh, now I feel really safe and comfortable and you're honoring my boundary.
Yeah.
I'm open to talking about it. I'm open to watching the group sex porn. I'm open to, starting to explore, and then fast forward in time. And they're at the party. And I'm like, isn't that interesting?
I think it's like the reassurance, right? That your partner's not only wanting this situation, but also wanting you as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's a big thing some people forget. It's like not just trying to comfort them for something they want to do, but comfort them as a relationship.
Exactly. And it's not just empty words.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, we won't do it unless you want to, but are you going to come to the party with me?
But are you going to do it?
It's actually seeing and believing that they're never going to pressure you. And sometimes those boundaries might not change, and that's, a different situation to go, okay, if it becomes a non-negotiable for one person, that this is a lifestyle thing that's so important to me and I can never let that go. And for someone else, it's like, I identify as monogamous and this is a boundary that I'll never change. Of course, that's a different question. And that couple might decide, actually, it's too important to both of us and it won't work as a result. And that might be the case for lots of different things when it comes to sex. But I have seen couples manage to find a dynamic that works for both of them and honours both of their needs.
Would you ever recommend someone come and see you to help have this conversation and for you to be there as the sort of facilitator, mediator?
The mediator that's in between it.
Yeah,
that's what a lot of couples counselling is, to be honest, is helping people identify unhelpful communication patterns. Because we all have them. When you
Me? No.
I am perfect.
I'm perfectly bad at all my communication, so let's just leave it there.
God.
You're consistent.
Well, before talking about good conversations, a good conversation we should talk about is stigma health, because they take out the icky and the scared part for you and basically do all the confrontational stuff minus you actually getting the jab into the arm. So I forget the code as every
Play
single
safe
time.
20. No, secret spot 20. Oh my God.
Oh my God. Can you read it? 'Cause I don't have my glasses on.
Okay, so Stigma Health is an online service where you can get your referrals for sexual health screening all online. So it takes out, as Jess was saying, it takes out the need to go to a GP and having that conversation and feeling a little bit awkward and having to explain your lifestyle to a practitioner who may not necessarily approve or wants to give you relationships advice. Thank you, random GP. That happened to me once. It's like, you're doing what now? You shouldn't be doing that. It's just like, take it easy. I didn't come to church. I want a referral for so you can do all that super fast. You can put in your Medicare number and all your details. It takes about 5-10 minutes. And then you can just pop into your local pathology office, get your screening done. Results come back to your phone or your account within a few days. And then you can be good to go. And I was saying, if you use the promo code SECRETSPOT20, I'm going to get...
We'll get there eventually, guys.
I'd get fired if I wasn't the person who have to fire myself. Secret Spot 20. You can get 20% off your order. You can multi-buy referrals. So if you're in the non-monogamous lifestyle and you like to get regular screening, you can buy half dozen set of referrals and you can save even more. So thanks a lot to Stigma Health.
Yeah.
And we're going to move now into...
I can't see any of that today. I should have worn my glasses. Since being pregnant, I am so blind.
For people listening at home, what Jess is referring to is that Gabe is holding up signs, like the applause thing. He's moving us on to the next topic. Just the tip is what we're discussing now.
Yay!
Okay, Alice, thank you for participating in this consensual game of Just the Tip. This one is called Red Flag or Normal. So you'll notice you've got some red flags probably on the other side there, Jess, next to you, and Alice and Lawrence. You've got some there next to you as well, a green and a red flag. I only have 2 pairs. Sorry, I didn't get a third. So
do you want to have flags? Because I'm loud.
Do you want to have one each?
Oh yeah, we can.
Oh, it's going to be a
executive
hive mind and
decision.
you're going to be like...
Exactly.
You're
Girls
like
against boys.
Alice is looking at Jess like, Not a red flag. That's a red flag.
Exactly. But maybe I need the red one.
What's going to be odd if Alice puts up a green and then Jess puts on a red?
She's like, no. Yeah, this is going to happen.
But as you can imagine, what a green and a red flag is in our, current culture is that something might be construed in a relationship as a red flag or be totally normal. Totally normal being green and red being, that's a bit sus. So I'm going to read out a few modern relationship intimacies or behaviors or both, and you guys can decide whether or not that's a green or red. And Alice, being the expert, can extrapolate why that is correct
can't
or
fuck it up.
incorrect. Okay? So at the end of the day, Alice is just correct regardless of what you guys
Excellent.
put up.
So my team wins.
They're going to start off very simple, and then they're going to get much more nuanced as we go. So these ones might be quite obvious to begin with. So here we go.
Wouldn't it be better if Jess has both? She puts them up and then you can just say, no,
I mean, you can.
line fault.
Actually, that's not a bad idea, Alice.
What, you do it and then I tell you what I would do.
Alice,
Damn it, now my team's not
And you're
going to
like,
win.
oh, Lawrence, that is clearly a red flag.
What if I do that? Does that count?
what is that? That's the.
It's a bit of like an orange.
It looks like the flag for South Africa or something. Like it's got the green and the red. Except
Oh,
the
yeah,
black,
it does, my bro.
Does a little bit.
You're quite right there, huh?
All right, here we go.
Okay.
First one. Your partner scrolls TikTok in bed every night instead of touching you. 3, 2, 1. That's a red flag.
Yeah, I would red flag that.
Why every night?
I think it's
What the
pretty,
fuck are you, like,
sadly, I think it's really normal, as
is
in really
it?
common, I should say, because people are dating their phones a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But I would say red flag, phones out the bedroom.
yeah, we have it like we put the phones down before we go to bed, and it's in a section also for my alarm clock because otherwise we're not getting up.
Yeah.
But yeah, we
Nothing
put them
kills
away from the
desire
bed.
closer than just
Than a
two
mobile
people
phone.
scrolling side by side, coexisting.
Yeah, that's fair.
Do you recommend calling each other out on it in a nice way?
Definitely. I sometimes say that it's actually a bid for connection when you call your partner out on it. It's like, hey, like, phone's away now. Like, it's not a criticism. It's actually, hey,
I want to
come
spend
back.
time with you.
Yeah.
An
come back to me.
observation.
Exactly. It's actually, I want to connect, not I'm complaining about you.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. Scheduling intimacy into a calendar. 3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
Hey, there we go.
I do it all the time.
Green flags all around. I think that's great.
I do it every Tuesday, actually. We have date night
Yeah.
every Tuesday in our
I think
calendar.
that's so good.
We do Saturday nights. We put the Finn to bed early and
That makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah, we're Saturday. Saturday
Saturday.
household.
Saturday's good.
Yeah, it's
Saturday.
Saturday.
Do you ever have anyone saying that's lame? Scheduling intimacy?
Why do you say
Like
it's lame?
Lauren?
No, I think it's fine, but it's just like I can just imagine some people saying like
Definitely.
this should be like organic. It should just
It
happen.
should just be
But how, like,
spontaneous.
But people are busy. I'm like,
Exactly.
everyone has a life, and especially when you throw kids into that mix, like,
Imagine saying,
Everyone's-
Yes.
holidays should just be spontaneous. It's like,
God,
well, if you
that
don't,
happens.
it will never happen.
We'll never get those deals on booking.com.
We're shopping the coupons for intimacy now. It's like, oh, I get 2 for 1 hugs.
All right, next one. One partner, masturbates regularly but rarely initiates partner sex. 3, 2, 1.
it's a neither. I don't understand. I think it's fine, but I also like,
I told you it's nuanced.
but it's not like, I don't see it as an issue, but also if they're never having sex, and I see it as an issue. If it's like, some of them have that high libido, and like out of me and Jamie, I have the high libido, but some weeks I'm like, I'm too fucking tired to initiate sex. But then some weeks I'm like, well, it's been 24 hours, so we need to have sex again. So like,
What is
I
that?
don't know. From the question, it sounds like,
it's a bad thing.
well, it's like they're just always masturbating and never initiating sex. Maybe there's a problem there with, the.
If it's never ever, then yeah. But I think it's like,
Yeah, I mean, it's contextual, I think, for sure. I think if the person who's masturbating and never initiating sex knows that their partner isn't feeling like sex is
Yeah.
possible for whatever reason, mental health, postpartum, like actually this is like a healthy outlet to my, sexual needs, and they've asked me not to initiate sex because it'll add pressure right now. Healthy, green flag. But if it's this sort of unspoken pattern that's happened, because
Avoidance and-
there's avoidance of
Yeah.
sex, I don't really know how to talk about this, so I guess masturbation feels easier. It's all
Yeah.
gone a bit unspoken, then it might be a sign that, sex, that what I was talking to earlier, sex is becoming hard, the conversations about sex are feeling hard, initiation's feeling hard, and we don't know how to kind of move forward from it.
I like that. Yes. Everything's quite
Well
nuanced and
rounded.
contextual, like you said. Yeah, I agree. Having a maintenance quickie even when tired.
A maintenance quickie.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, sorry.
What's a maintenance quickie like?
Oh, it's too quick.
Do you mean like a sexy check-in?
You know, like, let's have
No,
let's
just
have
like-
sex,
like-
even
like-
though we're tired.
Let's just say, oh, come on, let's just do this. Like,
Yeah, let's just have
like
I'm gonna
pushing
pull my
yourself
knickers
to-
down and
Okay,
like,
okay, I understand. Yeah, no,
get it out, get it
you
up,
know,
let's go.
Yeah, just stick it in, go on.
Yeah.
I think it's fine.
No, we have a blatant rule that
flag.
like if we've initiated sex 3 times and then it's like it just for some reason like Ollie's woken up or something's happened we couldn't do it, then the next opportunity where we're both together, it's sex.
Yeah,
Sometimes,
Automatically.
sometimes the laptop just needs a hard restart. Just
yeah.
All right, quick.
I think it's a good sign of two
Laptop.
people who are really comfortable with their sexual communication and sexual initiation. And yes, you know, seduction is really important sometimes, like a lot of the time. But sometimes you're like, oh, shall we just, you know, we've got a moment.
That's why they have
asleep.
bathrooms at restaurants,
I'm
guys.
cranky, I'm pent up. I just need to get this done.
I think
It's bathrooms at restaurants.
good communication.
That's
Green flag.
bathrooms at
Just a
restaurants.
little wham bam, thank you, ma'am, out the door.
Yeah, and then it makes dinner so much more excitable too because you have it just before mains and then you sit down and eat mains.
Yeah.
Do it often. It's
Oh,
great.
God. Yeah, you learn through relationships not to eat after sex.
But I
Or-
would-
Yes.
or
But
have
I
sex
would-
Sex
after
before
big-
you do a dinner date.
Oh,
Yeah.
so
Yes, I think
Yeah,
that's
fuck
the
first.
best. Fuck first.
first.
And then if you can fuck
Eat later.
afterwards, what a bonus.
it's so
Yeah.
good because I was going to say if you're only having sex tired, then that's going to lead to some pretty routine and unfulfilling sex in the long term. Hence why fuck first can be so great because you're actually going, hey, this is an important part of our life and relationship. Why are we waiting until we've got nothing in the tank at the end of a long, stressful day
Yeah.
to only ever be intimate? So
How would you advice you have for like, you know, going back a little bit into the topic of like modern day life and you've got a young family, it's just like, I don't have capacity. Like we didn't have, everyone's awake. Where are we going to do this kind of thing? We're either at work, we're at home and there's a million people running around.
And I think that's so fair. You know, I hear every week we just don't have the time or the space for sex and intimacy. And I do think the context of your life stage is really important and to be a bit kind to yourself and to each other if there's a lot of breaks going on that makes it harder. But that's why the scheduling thing is so important because just like, you know, any other important thing in your life, like exercise or work or family commitments, if they're important to you, you find the time.
Yep.
And it's the same with your sex life.
Yep.
And that's why when people, oh, it's so unsexy to schedule it. It's like, well, then you might not have it.
Yeah,
know?
you may not get it without schedules.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting.
All right. Well, we got one last one to throw up.
I'll wait till the count. Okay. I'm going to close my eyes too. So I'm not-
Close your eyes. How's that going to help?
It's actually a good thing about fantasizing when you close your eyes because this question is, or this point is about
I'm fantasizing. This question is over already.
Right.
Sorry.
Someone in the relationship fantasizes about other people but has no desire to cheat. 3, 2,
So
1.
wait. Say that
Fantasizes
again. What
about-
did you say?
Someone in the relationship fantasizes about other people but has no desire to cheat. 3, 2, 1.
How would you know have you never had a fantasy about fucking some random person?
Yeah, green flag. Green
It's
flag.
also healthy, I think, because it means that you've got a bit of like that sexual libido in you that you're like, oh, I do want to have sex.
Yeah,
Not just
green
being
flag.
a stale little way.
Yeah. If someone was saying to me, I
Fantasy is
never
different to reality.
fantasize about anyone or anything, I'd be like, you're just lying to me now.
I wouldn't necessarily say it's a red flag if they never fantasize about anyone but their partner. I'd say it's pretty unusual, but it's kind of cute. I wouldn't say it's a red flag to only fantasize about your
I
partner.
find it so hard to see the faces in my dreams too. Most of the time
Yeah.
it's what my brain is thinking. Like it's
Absolutely.
like, oh, this person looks like XYZ, but like half the time I don't even know if their face is actually there. It's all muddled.
Yeah, but I think fantasizing, you know, the beauty of fantasy is that it is the safety of your mind. You can, you know, be a fairy. You can have superpowers. You can literally do anything. You can have a dick. You can have a pussy. You can literally open up your
Imagine.
potential, which is really exciting. I would say it's a red flag if you only ever fantasize about other people and you would find it impossible to put your partner into an erotic context in your mind, which I have heard from clients say, I actually have got to a point where I struggle to masturbate thinking about my partner. And if they were getting to that point, I'm like, well, no wonder your sex life is,
Because your mind's thinking
Struggling.
it now, so it's portraying
because
it
it's
when you
hard
get
to
it.
see them in an erotic light, right? If you're seeing them just through the context of, you know, being the parent of your children or all of these other amazing things that they are to you, but you're not really seeing them or trying to project them into an erotic light, for example, in fantasy, that is a pretty good place to start. You know, so start thinking about them again, start looking at sexy photos of them again.
Do you find it's maybe because they're thinking negatively on that relationship? So then,
Sometimes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, sometimes. I often
Interesting.
say that attraction, you know, it's not in isolation. So if people say to me like, oh, I'm just really worried I've lost attraction to my partner, you know, is this a signal to the end? You know, it's all doomed. Now I don't find them attractive anymore. If you think about it, when you see your partner in the middle of an argument, you rarely go, God, I want to jump you right now. You're rarely looking at them as an attractive being when you're frustrated with them. Similarly, if you see them doing, you know, a kind gesture to a stranger, you're like, oh, you're the best, you're so sexy to me. So attraction is often changing depending on the context. So yes, absolutely. If outside of the bedroom there's resentment or disconnection, often you're struggling to see them in an attractive way. Hence why screen time is such a problem, because you're just sort of Netflixing and lazing out every
Not
single
chilling
evening.
the correct way.
Not chilling in the correct way.
How dare
Where
they?
does attraction grow? Yeah.
Well, they should watch the podcast instead and get some sexy time on. And then there's like some Netflixing and chilling there.
Thanks, Alice. Thank you. Where can, before we close out the show, where can people find you if they want to reach out and have a chat, if they want to have their own sessions with you?
Yeah, so my Instagram is Alice Child Official, but I've also just launched a new company called Bedrock or Bedrock Clinic, which you can find on Instagram at Bedrock Clinic or bedrockclinic.com.au. And that's where you can book sessions in with me, but it's also where you can find other practitioners who are also all trauma-informed and sex-positive, just like you were saying about your negative experiences sometimes with GPs and other healthcare professionals. That's definitely stories that I've heard a lot. So the idea of Bedrock is no matter what you're going for, whether it's psychology, naturopathy, pelvic floor physio, this is a sex-positive, trauma-informed space to work on your relationship and your sex life.
Nice.
Nice. Do you accept EVA? Thank you for sharing and thank you for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed the episode, lovely listener. We do want to encourage you to come join us on Patreon. So we've got extra special content, dirty bonus stuff, like we do our raunchy recaps, raunchy readings, and we want to give a special thank you to our spicy members. So we have Ben P, David G, and Ryan. And all our naughty members, they're on screen right now. So let us know what you thought about the episode. You can let us know in the comments on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, DM us on our socials.
Our Secret Spot or Swapping Secrets podcast. Find us on pretty much every platform possible.
Send us a voice message if you like. We can even play it on the show. We'd love to do that. And don't forget to spank that subscribe button. And we can't wait to talk to you next time. Thanks everyone for listening. Stay sexy. We'll see you at the club hopefully. Bye.
Bye.